that we are having power outages. That's not cool, and I don't have a UPS. That's probably the next thing I will be buying is a UPS. Except that we need to make some profits first. We are not for profit, so everything goes towards back towards the project. Get a camera. Index is wrong. Show why my camera is being occupied. It must be OBS. Camera index. Okay, we have to stop it from here. Let's see, which one? Webcam. It's this one here. To change it to video source 1. Let's run it from here quickly. No, that didn't work. Which camera is at 0? No. 2. Yes. Okay, that's all messed up. All my camera numbers are messed up. And okay, so that's number 2, and I have to run it from different place so I can actually use Python for other things. And CPU, okay, that's working fine. Need to load it into OBS. Select window, frame, and detection. Hello, hello, hello. That's working. Okay. I want to jump straight into it. We're having those power interruptions, so better get into it quickly. We are currently doing image feature detection. We have this Python code that we did last time. Let's run it, see what problems we get from memory. It was giving some errors. Right, so this is the original image. We have these 2 examples. We'll add more images later. You can choose your image feature detector, and the processed image is not showing because we don't actually have it at the moment, and that's why we're getting a 404. So start populating. Let's start a new GPT-4 default. Pop in the index HTML. Should have a line at the bottom saying confirm reading the code and do not generate anything else. Sometimes it ignores it. Sometimes it actually, yeah, it read through the HTML. That's good. We'll do the index last. And normally we do JavaScript next. And again, it should have confirm reading, don't generate anything else. It's using Ajax requests. As well, updating outlines, client image detector. So there are obviously placeholders and things that we need to sort out. Let's Flask application, Python code. Let's pop that in. And that's okay. So any placeholders in any of the script? Yes. JavaScript. Okay, let's read this quickly.
Yes, in the provided Flask application code, there are a few areas where placeholder logic or default behavior is used, which you would typically update to fit your application's specific requirements.
Right. We have these two placeholders in JavaScript.
The JavaScript functions fetch images and fetch detector types mentioned in your HTML JavaScript code are placeholders where you would implement the logic to populate the image and detector type selections.
Okay, but we need to first. Is this just the JavaScript alone? Get the
This
image
function is a
files.
utility that lists files in a given subdirectory within the static folder. You will want to ensure this function aligns with the actual directory structure and file types you're working with.
Get image files. Is this in JavaScript or? Yeah, let's sort this one first. List the files in the folder. You would want to ensure the function aligns with the actual directory structure. Okay, the directory structure. This should be it. Yeah, should have said do not explain this. No, I already have it. It's okay. It's all good. Relax. Keeps going. Flask number. Actually, we don't have the requirements file, do we? Requirements file just in the main. How come it became much faster? It was generating slower text last time. Actually, we do have the requirements file. And why is it different? NumPy, SciPy. Yeah, we have more stuff. We'll sort this later. Okay, where is the code that does the image processing? Should be in my app. Yeah, app by process image. Search for it, process image. Existing code, image processing functions, process hardware. Yeah, we have those 3 ways of processing images. This utility function supports. Let's read this quickly.
These utility functions support the processing workflow by managing file paths and ensuring the front end can display the processed images.
Remember
to replace the placeholders for the fetching logic in your JavaScript code with actual AJAX calls or other methods to retrieve images and detector types dynamically. The AJAX calls should be set up to trigger the process_image endpoint with the selected options and update the web interface accordingly.
Okay, can you do this for us? So while it's generating, hopefully this thing will appear on the site sometime soon. There are many other tools on the site that you can check out already. It's wrong. It's the actual app. Put it first. It's the development. Okay. We need to get this correctly.
Let's assume that your Flask app has two additional endpoints, one for fetching available images, fetch_images, and another for fetching available detector types, fetch_detectors. You can replace the placeholder functions in your JavaScript code with AJAX calls to these endpoints.
We already have them, do we? No, we do not.
Here's an example of how you could implement these AJAX calls using fetch in JavaScript, which is a modern alternative to XML HTTP request for making HTTP requests.
Okay, we already have those. Fetch detector types. Okay, we already have those two. Function fetch images. Okay. And that's fine. Fetch detector types. Yeah, would like to do that. There's no placeholder. That's better than before. Update the detector type. This function is not actually being used. Why? So what about this?
The commented line you're referring to in the fetch detector types function is a placeholder for any additional logic you might want to implement after the detector types have been fetched and populated in the dropdown. For instance, you may want to automatically trigger an image processing action when the detector types are loaded, or you might simply update the interface to reflect the new options are available.
Yes, I will. I do want to do that, yes.
If there is no extra logic required after populating the detector types dropdown, you can remove the comment or leave it empty. However, if you want to, say, set a default detector type and update the processed image display based on this default, you could do the following.
It should be the same. Set default detector type. Update image display. catching any errors. That makes sense. And then function update. Don't have it, do we? No, we do. And select image detected type. Yeah, okay, this should be better. We haven't tried the previous one, so I'll just use this one. And what about update detected type?
The update detector type function will need to be fleshed out based on how you want to handle the image processing. If the update detector type function is meant to immediately reprocess the image with a new detector type upon selection, make sure the AJAX call inside this function is correctly implemented to send the request to the process_image endpoint as shown in the previous code snippet.
Okay. Now there was something about Python and fetch images. Don't have it. Process image. Okay, what about
You will need to implement the server-side logic in Flask for the endpoints, fetch_images and fetch_detectors to respond with JSON objects containing the lists of images and detector types. Here's an example of what those Flask routes might look like. Make sure your Flask application has the appropriate route methods and that it is set up to handle calls if your front-end and back-end are served from different origins. The provided JavaScript and Python code should be adapted according to the actual implementation details of your Flask app.
Yeah, that probably could go there. We're having this error. Let's pop this error in quickly. And then
The bad request key error you're encountering is a common issue when dealing with Flask web forms. It typically occurs when Flask attempts to access a key in the request form dictionary that doesn't exist. In this case, the key image is not found in the form data that was sent with the post request. Ensure that the JavaScript making the AJAX call is correctly including image in the data being sent to the server. The name attribute of the input field for the image should match the key you are trying to access on the server side.
I don't have a form that at all. That might be the reason why nothing actually works. How do I fix this? Form data, new form data. Image select. Image select. It's getting value by it's getting value from here. We will deploy this in a hopefully in a bit. You can see there would be deployment of all the other tools on the site in previous videos. hopefully we'll be deploying this one, well, once it's working. And for it to work, we need to, for it to actually show a processed image. Just getting some errors at the moment. On the client side, we don't have this form data. Let's pop this in. Don't know why we don't have the Ajax call. Do we still need the Ajax call? And let's see.
The Ajax call in the update detector type function triggers the process underscore image endpoint with the selected image and detector type and is necessary to process the image on the server. However, there are some adjustments to be made to ensure the data is sent in a way that's consistent with your Flask backend expectations. Since you're dealing with potentially multi-part form data, such as images, the Ajax call should be modified to use form data instead of JSON. Here's the corrected version of the update detector type function with form data.
Okay, update detector type. So instead of an Ajax call, right, doing that. I'll just go with it. I have no idea how to actually do it myself. So we just update. Currently it doesn't work. Whatever we have doesn't work, so just go with this instead.
This change assumes your Flask server is expecting image and detector as part of the form data, and not
right.
the JSON payload.
Now it's working.
The form data object allows you to send files and text fields in the same request, which is suitable for file uploads.
ChatGPT is actually pretty amazing. And I'm highly skeptical of these things. I wouldn't just say it. I wasn't into like cryptocurrency and the like, saying buy crypto over there. But this thing is a whole other a whole other level, a bit of a god level. Isn't the G in GPT stands for God? Yeah. Now we obviously it's generated that one processed image, marked some stuff on it, so detected some features in that image, which is absolutely awesome. Yeah, hopefully we will be able to, if we're making this progress, we'll be able to deploy this today. Also, if we don't have another power outage, I already had 2 in a row. Need to go get a UPS somewhere. If you have a UPS that you are not using, please let me know. I'm a not-for-profit. This is a not-for-profit project, so if you could donate a UPS, that would be awesome. Okay, let's get back to this now that it's working. So obviously we need to make sure when you change the image, the page is updated. But let me double check first. We need to get this absolutely correctly. So in processed image, we have that image generated in processed images. But we might need to make sure when we select a different image or different detector type, another image should be generated in this processed images folder. Ooh, this really loud thunder. I suspect my power gonna go out again. Okay, let's see, how do we fix it? This, we need to put it, this is where we put all our prompts in this file. It's also published on the website. Working. Make sure the yeah, that's the make sure the image saves same name as the original image. That's okay. Same extension. That's fine. Don't actually need it. Yeah, we want to. How do I? This is, by the way, GitHub Copilot. So control, make sure the image is saved folder. Every time input is changed. Yeah, this sounds more like it. Sorry, the prompts that we haven't used yet, just put them at the bottom. But this is the more important one. Hopefully this will fix the current issue.
From your Flask code, every time a detector type is selected and an image processing request is made to the process_image endpoint, the resulting processed image is saved in the static processed_images directory with a specific naming convention that includes the detector type and the original image name.
Yeah, but it seemed to be only happening once.
The process_image function receives the post request data containing the image and detector keys.
Yes, that's happening okay.
Based on the detector value received, it calls the appropriate processing function, process_Harris, process_she_Tomati, or process_fast.
Okay, let's restart the app just to make sure it's working correctly. So this should have generated same file, but she Tomasi instead of Harris, and it did not. Let's see.
The AJAX request in your JavaScript code sends the selected image and detector type to the Flask backend. Upon successful processing, the backend responds with the path to the new processed image, which the JavaScript code then sets as the src attribute of the processed image element, causing the new image to be displayed in a browser.
Say again.
The AJAX request in your JavaScript code sends the selected image and detector type to the Flask backend. Upon successful processing, the backend responds with the path to the new processed image, which the JavaScript code then sets as the src attribute of the processed image element, causing the new image to be displayed in a browser.
Okay, that
To make
doesn't
sure a
work.
new processed image is saved and displayed every time the input is changed, you should ensure that your event listeners correctly invoke the processing logic and update the web page's image elements accordingly. The flow is already correct in the provided code. Here's a quick rundown of how it happens.
No, it seemed to be only happening once.
Image select and detector select event listeners detect a change in the drop-down selection.
Currently, it only happens one on page load.
They call update image display with the new image selection, which updates the image URLs. Update detector type is then called within update image display if the detector type is set, which sends an AJAX request to process the image with the new settings. Upon completion, the AJAX call updates the processed image.src attribute with the path returned from the server, displaying the new processed image. Make sure that the client-side code appropriately handles the drop-down change events and that your server-side code handles the file operations correctly to overwrite or update the existing processed images as intended.
Okay, why don't you do it then for me, please? Let's read this quickly because it is important.
Certainly, to ensure your client-side code properly handles events and the server-side code manages file operations correctly, consider the following aspects. Client-side event handling drop-down change events. Ensure that change events on drop-downs call the relevant functions to process images. Data submission. Make sure that the data submitted to the server includes all necessary information and in the correct format. Error handling. Implement appropriate error handling for failed HTTP requests or server errors. Server-side file operations file naming. Processed images should be named uniquely to prevent overwriting previous images unintentionally unless overwriting is the desired behavior. Path handling. When saving processed images, build file paths correctly to save in the desired directory. Response correctness. Ensure the server sends back the correct relative path that the client can use to update the image display. Here is an outline of how you could ensure the functionality works as intended. 1. Handle drop-down changes. Make sure the change event listeners are correctly set up to trigger the image processing functions and update the display.
In network, when I change, so when I load the page, all that is happening, which is fine. When I change the detector type, nothing happens. Let's see. Oh, in JavaScript, event listener change, image select, detector select. Right. This is different, isn't it?
Make sure the change event listeners are correctly set up to trigger the image processing functions and update the display.
That should be better.
In the AJAX call, you are setting the content type to application, JSON, which is correct for sending JSON payload.
Okay, if this is correct, why do you mention it? And you did change it. Why? Method post. This one says do not set content type. This one is setting a content type. So which one? Which one is which? This process fetch process image, catch. So stacking from the form. Okay, it's not currently working, so I might take that, which is pretty much similar. Okay, now it's not working. And this one was working.
In the AJAX call, you're setting the content type to application, JSON, which is correct for sending JSON payload.
Save this file just in case we stuff it up. We'll have a copy of it, and we will go with those changes. To catch error. Error, and in the Python process arrays actual function image path, process image path, processing processed image path. This line the same? No. Create unique process image path. Okay, there's another another function. This function we can pop it in here for the meantime. And no. Okay, this can go. It's out of place, is it? Right, process image path. And this will only work for Harris.
After processing, the server should respond with a path that the client can use without additional modification. If your process_image route returns a path that's directly usable by the client to set the image src, the client-side update should work flawlessly. With these considerations, your Flask application should correctly handle feature extraction and image processing, saving the results, and the client-side code should successfully request processing and update the UI dynamically.
Right, well, there's something wrong with the code at the moment. How to fix. Stuffed something up.
There seems to be a mismatch in how you handle the request data in your process_image endpoint. The error you mentioned earlier indicates that the server expects the image data to be in the form data, but it is actually in JSON format. You need to change how you access the data on the server side to match the format being sent by the client. Since you're sending the data as JSON, you should use request.get_JSON instead of request form on the server side.
I'm not sure which one I should be using. Okay, can you regenerate the whole thing for us? Let's get back to the point where it was working. Yeah, this gets too complicated with the image path. Okay, what point did it stop? Working. Getting a 404 for fetch detectors. Yeah, totally stuffed it up. Okay, we had deadlines for generate all the necessary code for the updated JavaScript. Let's see if it sometimes it ignores me and starts generating a code with a lot of placeholders and missing code. This one looks legit so far. Okay, currently we have about 95 lines of code. This one is like 10 lines I'm missing. Any doesn't look like there's any placeholders. Now can we do the same for the Python code? Generate the whole Python code. Yeah, we have about 125. Yeah, this stuff. Can you regenerate? Yeah, that's ignoring me. Yes, sometimes just writing app y kind of works. Still generating. Why it's not letting me submit? Yeah, I need the whole thing. Doesn't let me change the prompt. Okay, I will definitely hit the 50 prompts per 3-hour limit soon. Don't give me placeholders. Okay, now it's thinking for a right. This seems like the whole thing. Well, just jinxed it. Can you do this for me as well? On your image. This goes over there. What else is missing? What code is missing? Must be putting me into some sort of second tier, after using it for a while. It becomes super slow. Selected. Oops. In this error. Yeah, it meant to be an easy fix. We do have the previous JavaScript and Python code. Should we just revert to it? And no good. Script. No good. This one. Back to script.js. One back to apply. It's the one we want to run. Right. Massive. Okay, let's try once more and we'll start a new chat. GPT-4 default. Let's close anything else. Let's do the usual. Go through a HTML first with that line at the end saying confirm reading the code and do not generate anything else. Sometimes it decides to ignore it, like now. But what does it say?
The HTML structure suggests this page is meant for feature extraction from images, as indicated by the main heading less than h1 greater than. It includes meta tags for sharing on social media, a starsheet link which uses Flask's URL underscore to generate URLs for static content, a Plotly.js library for rendering charts or graphs. And it dynamically lists image files and detector types that a user can select from drop-down menus. There's also a script tag at the bottom that asynchronously loads Google AdSense advertising scripts after a 10-second delay.
That's right. So smart. But I ask you not to generate anything. I said confirm reading the code and do not generate anything else. Sometimes it actually doesn't. And other times it ignores that last line. Which is a bit odd. But at least I know it read it. Any issues with this application? This one.
However, there is an assumption that selected underscore image from the form is a file name that will be directly found within the images subfolder. If the file name doesn't exist or is incorrect, the code might not handle these cases gracefully.
Okay. Right, it's doing the detection. Something was deprecated. But did it? Right, so it is working. Harris, fast, Shitomasi. Okay, it's actually working. So and I haven't actually changed anything. Just restarted the thing. Yeah, we don't want to change anything. First rule of engineering: if it's not broken, don't fix it. And this one doesn't seem to work fast. Harris Shitomasi is working for the other image. Why is that just copied across? Is there a problem? Yeah, one is PNG and one is JPEG. Might be having trouble with PNG. Can I delete? Can delete this for a sec. Harris fast Shitomasi, that's working. It's saving it as PNG. I suspect if we turn it into JPEG, the issue will be resolved. currently, yeah, it's not saving the file. It's doing something. This image meant to be different. It's finding all the features. It's pretty good. I'm not sure. There's all the peaks, the edges. It's not doing the other ones. These three are working okay. Not sure if it's to do any errors. There's lots of errors. Yeah, there's an error to begin with. Line 37 of 56 in JavaScript. 756. Well, that's where the error is going from. 37 is also. Essentially get both.
The code you provided appears to be a standard Flask application for image processing with feature detection. Here are a few points to consider which might be relevant depending on your application-specific requirements and setup. Your Python code doesn't show explicit error handling around file operations or image processing steps. If an error occurs during reading, processing, or writing the image files, the server might return a generic error response without much information for debugging. The use of secure _filename from workzug utils is good practice for sanitizing file names and avoiding security issues related to file system operations. However, there is an assumption that selected _image from the form is a file name that will be directly found within the images subfolder. If the file name doesn't exist or is incorrect, the code might not handle these cases gracefully. The function get_image_files assumes all files in a given subfolder are images. It could potentially return non-image files if they exist in the directory. A file extension check could be beneficial.
I can do this later.
The application could grow less responsive if the static images and static processed_images directories contain a large number of files because OS list_dir reads the entire directory contents into memory.
Right. Concurrency is actually important. We want
If
to
two
fix
users
that.
process the same image with the same detector simultaneously, their results could interfere with each other since the processed image name is derived directly from the original. Implementing a method to handle unique naming for each processing request, such as appending a timestamp or a unique identifier, would be beneficial.
Well, we could also make sure that the file check if the a file image was already yep, do not save it again.
To prevent reprocessing and saving the image if it has already been processed and stored in the static processed_images folder, you can implement a check before the image processing functions are called in the process_image route.
The other thing seemed to work okay with JPEG. Can we turn it into JPEG? Open. Yeah, let's change this a bit. First, get rid of all the fluff around it. Let's just do that. A layer. Canvas to layers. Export this. JPEG. Right, this one is actually working better. Yeah, get rid of the PNG. But yeah, we still wanna implement that. This will check if the file was already processed and would not process it again. And detect the turn of process image files. Path based detect type. Turn.
To prevent reprocessing and saving the image if it has already been processed and stored in the static processed_images folder, you can implement a check before the image processing functions are called in the process_image route. Creating a processed_image_file name that constructs for the processed file name would be based on the selected detector type.
And now it's not working at all. And not working at all. Change the names or what? I mean, I'm looking at it. Was working a second ago. And that didn't really work. The other thing is that the default rename this um, this one 0. Oops. The other one should be loaded first. Yeah, let me just restart the whole thing. Right, it's working. A few things that I would like to change. to delete those. Is it not loading on page reload? Clear. Control Shift C. On working okay when input is changed. However, getting errors on first page load.
The 404 errors indicate that the routes, fetch_images and fetch_detectors are not defined in your Flask app, but your JavaScript is making fetch requests to these endpoints when the page loads. To resolve these errors, you need to define these routes in your Flask app and have them return the appropriate JSON data. Make sure you define these routes before you start the server with app.run, debug equals true. The fetch_images route uses the get_image_files function you already have to return a list of images in JSON format, and the fetch_detectors route returns the predefined list of detector types.
Let's just delete the Python script by mistake. Delete those. It's working. Just wondering about the order. The arriving should come first. Where default image is set. Just search for default as well. Where is default image?
The default image is selected and set in the index root of your Flask application. The logic for choosing a default image upon loading the page is encapsulated in this section. In the above code snippet, the variable selected underscore image is assigned the first image from the list of images retrieved by get underscore image underscore files, images. If no images are found, selected underscore image is set to none. This variable is then passed to the template as selected underscore image.
What?
This means the first image in the directory will be selected by default when the index page of your application is loaded. If you want a specific image to be the default rather than just the first one in the directory, you can set selected underscore image to that particular image's file name, assuming it exists in your images folder.
No, first in the directory is fine, but I also don't understand. Yeah, just change names. Where did we had a whole folder. Yeah, will be with the image compression and all JPEGs. Image static images. Don't want this one still coming first. Is it because I placed it in there first? Oops. Sorry for that. Right. It's always resorting to that one. I don't understand why. Anyway, those are the default values. They should be fine. Okay, I'm not sure if we're gonna be deploying straight away, but it's ready. Seems like fast. How's it done with the ones? It's using I'm right. It's the size of it, isn't it? Yeah, we could have this parameters available as the inputs. It's finding the text, the image. Fast is finding too many things. It's obviously missing that bit there, which I think will be important. Anyway, this will be default. Just shows you how it works. Nothing fancy. And we will probably continue next time. Let's see if we have more time for this. Probably not, so I'll see you next time. Bye.